And it seems every sector cannot escape the chain from COVID-19 คุณเทพชัย and one of sector is environment in which because of COVID-19 we can see how plastic waste has been increasing and what the minister is planning to do with this. Right now we have Minister of Natural Resources and Environment คุณวราวุฒิศิลปะอาชา joining us live. Good evening สวัสดีค่ะ Minister
สวัสดีครับ Good evening everyone
สวัสดีคุณวราวุฒิครับ Thank you for joining us. As you know, we have been talking a lot about the so-called new normal, right? So for Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, what has been the new normal for you?
Well, for start, this is the first time ever in the history of the national parks of Thailand, all 155 of them, that we actually close it down. It has been almost 2 months now. We have never closed any national. I mean, we've closed some of the national parks due to some weather, seasonal thing like on the Andaman Ocean and in the Thai Gulf, but never before that we actually shut down the entire 155 national parks throughout the entire country. This is the first time.
Wow, that's right. And you're happy to see that these parks close, I think, to some extent anyway, because that would allow the sort of a return of rare wildlife.
Just think of it as a home of the wildlife. They are welcoming guests. They are welcoming visitors every day. Imagine if we have visitors and guests to our home every single day, 365 days a year. That would be quite tiresome, and it could be, well, it can be pretty annoying. So I think this is the first time that they can actually enjoy their home, by themselves without any interference of humans, without any littering caused by the humans, because we can see that in the past 2 months, there has been no news about animals died because of eating plastic bags like we used to see. We have not seen a single case of marine mammals or fish like the dugong, like whales, turtles, or even dolphins, came ashore, died ashore, washed up ashore, and died because of the plastic bags. We have never heard of anything like that. On the other hand, we actually saw news where turtles, like the leatherback turtles, came ashore and lay eggs even at the head of the runway of the Phuket International Airport. Now that is the first time ever, and so I think that is the silver lining of the COVID-19. I dare say
it's a rest that these wildlife very much deserve, I think.
I think so. I very much believe so, and I think from the responses from everyone in on the online world, many people agrees the same, and that is why we decided that from now on, all national parks in Thailand, whether be it on land or in the sea, we will give them a break, at least 2 months. Some of them will be 3, some will be 4, but all in all, it will be on average about 3 months. They will shut down for 3 months throughout the year. It will be done alternately, not all at the same time. But there will be a calendar, which I'm sure that the Department of National Parks and Wildlife will have to discuss with many people of the calendar of which when would be the most suitable time for each national park to actually close for a few months.
And Kun Varawut, before COVID-19, the campaign of reducing plastic bags seems to be going on quite okay. And what really happened during COVID-19, because from what I heard is the plastic waste has been increased, particularly during COVID-19.
Well, it's a very unfortunate thing. We started off on the 1st of January, and we had an overwhelming responses and cooperation from everyone, from the people throughout the entire country. But unfortunately, with this COVID-19, all of us, every single one of us in Thailand, are forced to stay home and to order food by having it home delivered. Plastic bags becomes an essential, how shall I say, tools for guarding us against the infection of the COVID-19. many coffee places are refusing to accept the personal container, personal mugs, and we are forced to use the disposable ones, be it the paper cups or the plastic cups. So at this time, as a Ministry of the Natural Resources and Environment, we really do understand the stress and the needs of the people, why they need to use all these plastic bags. But having said that, we really do ask for the understanding and the cooperation of everyone. For example, when you order the home deliveries, it is possible that you ask the delivery company to leave out the cutleries, the plastic forks and knives and spoons. You can leave out the condiment sachets, where you have the fish sauces, the sugar, the chili powder, because those are the items that we have readily at home in our kitchen. So we can minimize the amount of waste or rubbish that we can generate at home. Also, with the containers that are being used nowadays, the quality of plastic is like the PP containers. You can actually reuse it. So if you clean them, some of them you can reuse even in the microwave oven. So if we can actually reuse and reduce the amount of wastes that we receive from the delivery companies, that would also help the environment as a whole.
I see. So do you think you may need to relaunch this campaign against the use of plastic bags once this pandemic is over?
I think we'll just have to reiterate our intentions once again. The campaign has already started. It has never been stopped. It's still ongoing. Some people are still, would love to use all these, personal bags, but it's just for a brief period of time. All these, the COVID-19 period that we are being forced to use some plastic bags and containers. But I'm sure as soon as the COVID-19 pandemic has passed, a lot of people in Thailand would be very happy to come back and use the cloth bag, the nylon bag, the reusable bags.
So overall, how do you think with the environment quality, has it been improved after COVID-19 automatically, like PM 2.5, climate change, global warming? How do you evaluate the situation?
Well, I think the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand, we are the only ministry who actually, I don't want to use this word, but benefit from the catastrophe that the entire country is going through at the moment. When humans stop, nature shall take its course. Nature shall resume its development. Animals shall live where they belong, shall do whatever they are supposed to do. And the ozone layer would recover. The amount of smog or PM 2.5 or all these pollutions, we can actually see a clear Bangkok skyline once again. The amount of PM 2.5 has dropped dramatically. The amount of carbon dioxide emission has dropped dramatically by, in the double digits in terms of percentages. So, I know it will be only for a short period of time, but I'm actually begging people, even the government and many civil servants, as well as everyone that I know, to really think about what they should do post-COVID period. For example, now we have so many work from home situations. In our ministry, we have over 55% of our civil servants to work from home. So that means 55% of the cars and vehicles have disappeared from our roads. So if the efficiency and the ability to work doesn't drop, the performance of the ministry hasn't dropped because of the work from home, scenario. I'm begging many ministries to actually follow this, even in the post-COVID period, because by reducing the number of vehicles on the street, on the road, it automatically reduces the amount of PM 2.5. Moreover, despite the fact that the amount of single plastic bags usage has increased dramatically during this period, but we notice that we don't see it in the sea, in the rivers, or in the wild anymore, because we are being forced to quarantine at home, stay at home. We can't go anywhere wandering about. So despite the fact that it has increased, but it has gathered in certain places, like at our home, in the, I don't know, markets, in the local places, it has not been scattered everywhere. That's why I said we have not seen cases where animals died because of, eating all these plastic bags, be it the marine animals or the land animals. We actually have all these plastic bags, confined to certain places. So if you can actually sort out these plastic bags, clean them, reuse them. If you can't reuse them, we actually sort it out. And like this morning, I went to an opening of the sending the plastic home, returning the plastic home. So if we can actually continue with this program, we can actually reuse and recycle or even upcycle the plastic bags that we have kindly gathered at our home, really. It's not scattered in the rivers, in the canals, or even the sea.
So, Kun Varawut, I agree with you that the pandemic also has its own brighter sides. When the return of the rare wildlife in the absence of tourists. And I'm sure that you will long remember these scenes of schools of dugongs, dolphins, sea turtles. But I'm sure that deep down in your heart, you certainly would want to keep things that way. But, it's not possible because sooner or later, millions of tourists will return to Thailand. So do you have plans to talk to people in the tourism industry, especially Minister in charge of tourism and sports, to talk about what can be done, to minimize whatever impact from the new round of tourists who will be returning to Thailand will have on the environment?
I think the COVID-19 is a switch, is a tools where we can. This is the once in a lifetime opportunity, in my opinion, where we can actually reset our system. It's a sign, it's a signal from the Mother Nature. I've said this many times when I first took the position as a minister of this ministry. I said, please do look after the Mother Nature. Please return return the quality, return the norm to the Mother Nature, return the balances to the Mother Nature before she adjusts herself. And I think this COVID-19 is actually one of the adjustment process, a natural adjustment process where it forces people to stay home and to really rethink about our courses of actions. All the national parks, be it on land or in the sea, we have the opportunity to see what happened when the human stops. Going back 6 months ago, if I suddenly decided to shut down 155 national parks, I would certainly receive a lot of bricks and stones in my office. But now we are being forced to close down. And as a result, people are very happy to see that everything is going back to how it was supposed to be. So the new norm of tourism in terms of the national parks in Thailand, people would have to plan. You will have to plan your holidays now. You can't just, decide to go and pack your bag and go. You would have to see when you would like to go, whether it's available. The carrying capacity of each national park will be a vital role. We've talked about the carrying capacity for quite some time now. And we are certainly discussing the means of implementing the carrying capacity limitation. Because it's easy to say, okay, I'm going to cap visitor to this island to, 100,000 people in 1 year, for example. But the mechanism of actually screening and limiting the 100,000 people, the selection process, the reservation process is a very, very complicated one indeed. Because despite the fact that we would like to preserve all the nature and environmental factors, we also have to think about the people as well. It's not just all about preservation. It's all about looking after the people of Thailand, those who are in the tourism business, the locals who are affected by the tourism industry. We also have to think on their behalf too. There is a fine balance of how to protect and preserve the nature while keeping the people, alive and, well fed. So that is a very fine balance where the ministry will have to talk at length with many concerning parties.
And back to the capital, back to the city, Minister Varawut, you said you have to beg other ministry to try to comply with more natural or more nature friendly by working from home or using car less. Have you got idea to draft the plan as strategy for long term to make it sustainable rather than just wait for their cooperation?
I must say I raised this issue in the middle of the COVID-19 meeting with the Prime Minister and amongst my fellow ministers as well. The Prime Minister, General Prayut Chan-o-cha, he really for this idea. He instructed all the ministries to monitor the performance of each department and to see whether this could be our new norm. Because some of the work, you don't need to work at home. You don't need to come to the office. It can be work at home. We can do it in shift. You come in for 3 days and stop for 3 days or something like that. But the means of evaluating the performance will have to be adjusted accordingly, because in the Thai civil servant system, they are being measured. The benchmark is also the attendance at the office, and there are other criteria to consider when it comes to promotion and evaluating the performances. So we would have to talk to many other authorities if we are going to make this work from home scenario more permanent kind of thing.
Yeah. Kun Varawut, I know that you are doing your job at the ministry with a lot of passion. And so what do you think is the most difficult task in running this ministry in protecting the country's most valuable assets, the environment and the natural resources? I think the pandemic should give you a newfound voice. You can say things with more authority now.
I dare say that I have never had such fun working ever before in my life. And I have to thank the Prime Minister for give me the opportunity to work here, to be part of something great. And, over 10 months that I've been sitting in the chair as a Minister of Natural Resource and Environment, I see so many opportunities, so many goods that we can do for this country, for our children, for our next generations. The main obstacle is time. We cannot rush time. We cannot rush things. For example, over the last weekend, I visited the Maya beach down in the southern part of Thailand. It has been closed for about 18 months now. Many people are asking when it can be reopened. I dare say it will be another while before we open it back to the public, because all these corals has been totally, I dare say, about 99% destroyed. And all these coral, it takes, decades to grow. Some of the coral, it takes a year to grow by merely a few centimeters. And, just one generation, all those things that our grandparents and the previous generation has preserved to us, we've destroyed it. So time is the only obstacle that I cannot rush it. I cannot rush for the rehabilitation of our natural resources. I cannot rush for the Mother Nature to take a course back and restore everything. So it takes time and patience and perseverance. We have to talk to a lot of people. We have to talk to many groups of people, because like I said earlier, preservation and, to move forward in terms of economy, to develop the countries on the economic side, there is a fine balance where we have to keep the balance very, very careful. Too much of one, being too much on one side or the other. If we go for the economic, we promote tourism too much, we've seen the devastation that has happened in the past decade. On the other hand, if we preserve it too much, then a lot of people will be affected by it. So there is a very fine line where the ministry has to balance it and take to consideration many, many factors and talk to many, many people.